That's it. Hike, swing, hike, return. Let's do it again. Hike, swing, hike, return. So on this next one, I want you to stop at the top with that bell out in front of you. What's going on? This is Marcus Martinez, Master Kettlebell Coach with Living.Fit, and this is the lovely Aaron Guyette. He's the other Master Coach and Director of Education for Living.Fit, but today he's just gonna be my workout model. So we're gonna go over a three-part beginner circuit. We're gonna incorporate kettlebells and body weight. So we're gonna keep this very, very simple. So the first movement is gonna be a dead stop swing. So we've all seen swings where you do them over and over and over, but this time we're going to stop the momentum. So Aaron's gonna grab onto that bell. Before he goes, let's look at his position. Notice shoulders are aligned above the hips, nice and extended through the spine, so it's not rounding, putting a lot of tension on the vertebrae. We wanna really focus on that tension around the lats and your back, so that way we apply more pressure on where we need to and not where we don't want it, which is just where most people feel it, which is on their lower back. Sitting down nice and tight, so glutes are engaged, quads are engaged, lots of tension. If I were just to bum rush him and knock him over, it wouldn't, but even if he was intense, it probably couldn't because he's really strong. Notice how the position of the bell, we're kind of angled back, so that way it kind of takes the slack out of the bell, similar to if I was pulling a barbell for a deadlift, I'd want to take the slack out of the bar and then pull. That's the same thing we're going to do here. So we're going to do one rep where he's going to hike, swing, hike, and then return. And that's it. Hike, swing, hike, return. Let's do it again. Hike, swing, hike, return. So on this next one, I want you to stop at the top with that bell out in front of you. I made him think there for a second. He was like, how am I supposed to? Anyway, let's look at this bottom position first. So notice this hike. Boom. Notice how tight his arms are to his body. There's not a lot of space between the bell and his goods. We want to have that nice and tight so that way we're taking the pressure off of the back, which is what you'll see when someone just drags the bell back. Notice that. He's going to do it again. Just drag. Look at all that terrible positioning on his back and his shoulders. That's just not good. And then you're going to say kettlebells hurt you, and then you're not going to touch kettlebells anymore. And whose fault is that? It's probably ours because we didn't help you. So that's what we're doing right now. So let's do it again. Let's go ahead and do a full swing. Boom. Perfect. One more time. Notice how high that bell is going, just about shoulder height. That's all we're looking for right here. He's standing up nice and tall. He's not bending backwards. He's not trying to front raise that, even though he can easily do this with 53 pounds, because like I said, he's basically Captain America. He's going to keep that tension driving through the ground as he stands up. So another common cue you see is drive your hips. The problem is exactly that. It was like he knew what I was going to say. You drive your hips, then you lead to too much extension through the hips. That's bad. But if you're focusing on standing up tall at that top position, getting that nice little pelvic tilt, getting that posterior tilt so you can engage your glutes, engage your front line, your entire lumbo-pelvic hip area is going to be nice and engaged, intense, and keep you safe. What we're doing here with this dead stop position is that we're taking the momentum out of the equation, so that way he has to recreate that momentum each time. So as opposed to doing 20 terrible reps where only the first 3 were good, and then you realize after you're done that your back hurts, you do one at a time so we can focus all the attention. So now what I want you to do, Aaron, is do the same swing, but don't worry about going so high. So just stand up tall and let that bell come forward slightly. So it doesn't matter. This is a common question I get is how high should I swing the bell? As long as you're getting that hinge and extension and you're focusing the attention on your posterior, you're getting a lot of tension through that front side, it does not matter. We put too much emphasis on how high we're swinging that bell, and now it turns into a shoulder raise or excessive extension through the lower back. So don't worry about that. If you're a brand new beginner, don't worry about how high that bell goes. I was just gonna keep making him go until he's done, but I guess he's done. Second part of this workout is gonna be the side plank. So we'll start on one side. He's gonna pose lovely. So the main thing we're focusing here is keeping a lot of connection through the shoulders with engagement through the lats, through all those scapular all the musculature up through the scapula and behind. We wanna make sure there's a lot of tension here so that he doesn't sink into that position. And you'll see that after someone's been doing plank for about 30 seconds, they're like, nah, I'm cool. I'm just gonna sink into this. And then what happens? We start to create some tension and potentially some pain on the shoulders. So we wanna have a lot of engagement up through the upper body, through the shoulders, not just through your core or through your abs or your obliques that you think you're doing. You're focusing on this section here. And then if this is easy for you, you're gonna go ahead and raise up that front leg. So toss up that leg. Oh man, this is harder than it looks because now we're getting those abductors, we're getting the hips, we're getting a lot more core engagement, a lot more obliques. I'm just gonna keep talking. I'm gonna apply some pressure too. You wanna make it a little bit harder? Let's do that too. Maybe a little bit, make it a little shaky, a little tickling. So you're gonna do that on one side. We'll just hold it for about 30 seconds, but make it work for you. If you can only hold for 15, hold for 15. If you can hold for 20, hold for 20. Then we'll go to the other side. Yeah, so modification. It's like he knows, he already knows. So if I can't get into that position, so let's say they get into that position and they're like, man, this just isn't working. Next thing I like to do is I like to stagger the feet. So now I have a little bit more balance. So if I can drive up, if that's too hard, I'll just go from the knees and just lift up the hip as much as I can. So now we're having that foundation on the ground with that front leg. So it's still going to have some tension on those adductors, on that inner thigh, and definitely on the obliques. That was freaking hard. And then we'll go to the other side. So I was expecting him to turn around, but if we want to back, no. Like, let's give the people what they want, right? So we're gonna go into side plank on the other side. And now we can see all that musculature that Aaron's got up in here. Look at it all tense, nice and tense here. You're breathing through this tension. Notice from the crown of his head to the base of his spine, one nice line. We're not doing a lot of movement through the neck. We're not trying to get all this flexion and this is so hard. We want to keep it as tense as possible. And then we'll come right back up into the dead stop swing. So let's do this one time through. So let's go 10 dead stop swings. Uno. We'll walk around. We're gonna look at his foot position. Notice how connected to the ground he is. His feet aren't coming up. He's not dancing around. His heels aren't coming up. Knees are still tracking over toes. Driving those hips so he's standing up nice and tall. On that first one, he's gonna be a little bit more knee dominant, so he's got a little bit more quads, but as we swing on that downswing and on that hinge, we wanna be a little bit more hinge dominant, so focusing on the hamstrings. So this also gives a more well-rounded execution of this exercise for your lower body. Once he hits 10, which will be right there, he's gonna get on the side plank. We're gonna hold it for 20 seconds. Ready, set, and go. 1, 2, it's keeping that tension. So if you wanna make this, again, harder, let's lift up that leg. There you go. Squeeze. You can also incorporate a weight on this upper hand, so you can hold the weight overhead, you can hold it in different positions, you can press it. 18, 19, 20, other side. So we're gonna hold this position, another 20 seconds. So again, we're going back and forth between the dead stop swing, side plank, side plank. So we're getting that ballistic, explosive exercise with this highly tense, a lot of this isometric exercise that's gonna help you focus on that tension. 3, 2, 1. My timing skills are amazing. That was exactly 20 seconds. Don't look at the timer. So give that a try. One of my favorite, very simple yet still very challenging circuits from Kettlebell Origins, which is perfect for beginners. And if you're not a beginner, then it's actually perfect for you too. You just gotta up the weight. So give that a try. Thank you very much, Aaron. Woo!